Pod Bay Door 100th episode. I have to welcome my co-host John. And
I feel 100.
You feel 100?
Yes.
And my sometimes co-host Julia.
Yep.
They are here. And Chris from Faces and Aces podcast.
He's here for the birthday party.
He's here for the food.
Oh,
Yeah, I heard that there was going to be free coffee and food.
That's right.
Yeah.
right.
Alien
right.
omelets.
But I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
But everybody, welcome. And again, this is our 100th episode. And for those of you who are going to kind of lip over into our newest one called The Invisible Maybe, this is going to be episode number 1. But we are, and if you're on the looking at our YouTube channel, which is the Pod Bay Door LV at YouTube, you can see us here on camera. Everybody wave at the camera. There you go. We are actually at the Little A. Lee Inn in Rachel, Nevada, which is just a stone's throw. To get to the closest part of Area 51, we are 1.7 miles to a turn and then 13 miles into the sign that says, cross this line, you die. And from what Chris has learned recently, you'd cross the line and you could die.
It could legitimately happen.
Yeah.
Wow.
All kidding aside, it's a governmental facility. It is. We are nearer the back side of it, whereas the front side is a little bit... they have guard shacks and actual guards. The backside has a sort of a vehicle there, but the signs basically say, in fact, there's a copy of it somewhere here in the Alien, somewhere. I saw it.
Yeah, I need to find that.
Yeah, it says, warning, blah, 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 across this line, you can and will be shot.
Yep.
So we're not going to do that.
no, we'll go up to the line.
Yeah, we'll go up to
I'll
the
put
line.
my foot over it.
Okay, so
Because that's me.
We're gonna. This is a little bit less formal show that we normally do. I'm a taskmaster when it comes to the podcast, but we are here at the Little Alien, Rachel, Nevada. I'll give you all the details about that at the end of the show. And we have to thank Connie and all the people here at the cafe and the inn. It is a really cool place.
It is.
It is a classic old diner. It's got the bar. It's got the alcohol. It's got dollars hanging from the ceilings. And it's got alien Christmas stockings and all kind of souvenirs.
I know that this has been in movies, and
Yeah.
for anybody knows, they didn't decorate it just for the movie. This
No.
is how the place looks.
This is how the place looks.
Yeah, I mean, there's Christmas stockings with aliens on it. I mean,
Yeah.
I like that.
It's everything I hoped it would be.
Yeah.
I am going to shamelessly load up on gear before
There
we
you
leave.
go. There you go. But we can't thank Connie and her everybody enough for allowing us to be here. So I will open up with one simple question, and each of you have to answer it to the best of your ability. Chris,
Yes, sir.
do you believe?
That I believe in the possibility.
Yes.
It's an unlimited universe out there, so sure.
Yeah.
Yes, I would say for me.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, Julia.
I do believe. I think that, the universe came together, the perfect atoms hit one another, and everything was formed here. But I think it probably happened elsewhere in the vast universe. I don't believe they are flying here to look at our anuses, and I don't think that if they came here, they would be
How
interested
come
in
they
that.
had such modern technology
Like
to
bleaching?
come here, and then they've
Oh.
got this medieval tools of gynecological tools.
Yeah.
Let's probe this one.
When you were talking about modern technology, I thought you were talking about anal bleaching.
Yeah.
We got to get pretty for them.
They haven't even, I guess, figured that out either, right? Yeah. Let's use these ancient tools.
So, John, what do you think?
Well, of course, two ways. One, the universe is so vast. I do not think any more than I believe in American exceptionalism. I don't believe in Earth exceptionalism.
Right.
It is bound to exist somewhere else.
Yes.
That doesn't mean I believe that they have aliens on the overside of the mountain. I don't believe that. I don't think there's enough evidence that they came here and crashed. If they were that superior, they wouldn't have crashed. We figured even out at that time in the 40s that hey, we figured this flight out pretty well from the time of the Wright brothers.
Yeah.
I don't believe that if they did come, that they would necessarily look like us, as these aliens appear to be. They appear human. And again, it's been pointed out also, if they are humanoid and born in the same way that human beings are born, it would be biologically impossible for that huge head to pass through that small body of a woman, unless somehow they had really, really big hips. And I'm talking like bigger than Nicki Minaj, right? I mean, they would have to be really big down there in order to pass that huge watermelon head, right?
Yeah.
So you think they're out there?
Yeah, I just don't think they've been here yet.
No.
So
Okay.
we're 5 minutes into the podcast. We've talked birth canals and anuses.
Yes.
We're going for it.
Well, it's because Chris is from LA. We got to make him feel at home. My opinion is much like John's. I don't think anything's been here yet. If anything, there might have been some signal probing. There's some personal, individual probing. And yeah, I would hope that aliens, although if you think about it, if we are smarter than some other alien race, they would make a half-assed attempt, like we have.
Yeah.
And to think that we always assume they're smarter. We always
Yeah, and I
assume
think
that we're
that's
going
why
to get
they-
invaded by a smarter and
Right.
technologically advanced, and maybe not.
Well, that's why
Maybe
also,
not.
if you look in literature of the descriptions of aliens, right? If you go back a long time ago, they were really big. They were bigger than us because they
Yeah.
can kick our ass. But then it became, well, they're smarter than us because they would have to have figured out something we haven't. Therefore, their heads must be bigger because they have to have bigger brains.
Right.
So in the public consciousness, that comes around. Now, I will entertain the thought that there could be, of course, physics tells us, theoretical physics, that there could be another dimension that we that we share with another society of some kind or another, and it could be that they figured out how to go from one dimension to the next.
See, that would make sense.
That would make sense
because
because
Stephen
it would.
Hawking said, I think that
Yeah.
the reason no other civilization has probably ever been here is because you can't get here. I mean, there's no
It's too far.
circular tube that can get you across.
Exactly,
It's
and
just not
unless they were
possible.
just being able to be able to
Wormholes.
go from one
Yeah.
plane of dimension to another.
Yeah.
And it would also explain that why they would kind of look like us, because we are in the same part of the universe. They have the same makeup of the minerals and,
Yeah.
and things like that would be the same. So that could be something, and that would be something that I think, well, maybe I would believe that.
Yeah.
All right. Green, gray, or humanoid? What do you think? Are they going to look like us? Are they going to be gray?
I think that
If you can see, if you're watching YouTube behind us, we have three brown.
Here, this one here with the hangdog expression on it.
Yeah.
They must have done something. I don't think they cleaned their room. I think
Yeah,
that was-
they didn't. Yeah, they didn't have met their probing quota.
yeah.
So what do you think? Are they going to look like us?
Julia.
well,
gray?
I think that I
Aren't,
just
aren't
can't
those
even
the choices?
answer
Green,
that.
gray, green and gray. It's always
Well,
green,
brown.
gray,
And
or
then
brown.
brown.
Or are they going to
it
look?
depends on what evolution happened on their planet. So,
Yeah.
for instance, the dinosaurs on this planet were destroyed, and then rodents burrowed, and that's everything sprung from that.
Yeah.
What happened on that planet, and what creature emerged?
Right.
You don't know. It
Do
could
you-
look like Godzilla.
Well, and that's the other thing, is that we're assuming that everything is carbon based, like it is
Right.
here, and it could be silicon based somewhere else. So the life form would be radically different.
Yeah.
And then
I don't
there's
know.
other thing. I mean, scientifically, they'll say there's life on Mars. There is. Well, it's a bacteria. Hell, if I can't talk to it,
Yeah.
Well, I
that doesn't
think
count.
the Amy Adams movie dealt with that. They dealt with a
Yes.
completely
That was
different.
great.
Yes.
Yeah, different communication.
Yes, I really
level.
like that.
I did too.
Yeah,
I did too.
And the
did
way
too.
that she tried to communicate with them is, well, they don't have they have language, but very different than what we have.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, it depends on the environment of where they're from. We've adapted to our environment.
Yes.
I assume that they would as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I like to think that they're bedazzled and they're fabulous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't need to see that. I don't need to see more of that. We're already bedazzled here. All right. What iteration of in motion pictures do you think is closest to your beliefs about aliens? Amy Adams' movie being an example, or more to the point, what's your favorite alien movie and why? Anybody jump in?
John, you go. I don't have one yet.
Well, I like the day the Earth stood still, the original,
Ooh, way back.
way back, the original. Yes.
4.
Yeah. Yes. Right. Again, if you look at those were robots that came out, right?
Yeah.
But they had the physical superiority to defeat us. But there was a message to that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in terms of the presentation of the alien, there's good and bad, right? There's, on the one hand, I look at the movie Alien.
Yeah.
The great to me that was a wonderful haunted house movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
I
Just
loved
took
it.
place in outer space.
Loved it.
Right. It's same thing. There's a ghost or whatever. She can't see it. Whatever it is, it changes shape.
Yeah.
And then on the friendly side, Close Encounters, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that was the one that I was thinking of, was Alien.
Yeah.
Because to me, that seems like the most logical creature that would adapt to its environment. It's virtually indestructible. I don't necessarily know about the acid for...
Yes, that's what I have.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I don't necessarily know about the acid for blood. That seems like a nice fanciful fiction.
Yeah.
Where how someone's blood would evolve into that.
Yeah.
But just the durability of something that could live out in space without oxygen, and like that seems to make the most sense.
Yeah.
The one that I think I enjoy the most. Oh boy! I mean, I did mention on the car ride over that I just got finished watching Paul. That's fun.
Yes.
That's hilarious.
Paul. With Simon Pegg.
Simon Pegg
Oh,
and Nick
that's
Frost.
great. It
Oh,
takes
it's
place
fantastic.
around here.
You'll love it.
The voice of Nick Frost, or the voice of Seth Rogen.
Seth Rogen.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Figure one of these guys wearing Bermuda shorts.
Yeah. Oh, Kristen Wiig is in it.
It's funny. It's a funny movie.
That's a fun one. And then I kind of default to any alien that's represented in the TV show Doctor Who,
Oh.
because I'm a
Doctor
big
Who.
fan. Yeah.
Okay. Now, speaking of that,
Uh-huh.
not off topic really, but
Yeah.
but what do you think of the newest Doctor?
Oh,
I don't like her at all.
I've given it a second chance and I'm enjoying it more.
Really, second chances, as in you're watching it twice?
Rewatching. Yeah,
Rewatching.
rewatching the episodes that I didn't enjoy at first.
Wow.
And then, of course, I have to throw in as an honorable mention all
Yes.
the creatures from Star Wars.
Well, of course.
Oh, yeah.
Those are enjoyable aliens.
Now back to Doctor Who. It irritates me. You're the only person that watches it. Do you
Yeah.
watch it?
No.
No.
No, I haven't seen it.
And
I've heard of it.
I
of
honestly
course,
have not. I know of it, and I've seen bits and pieces of many Doctors.
Uh-huh.
Is she the Doctor now because of the empowerment of women, or was she just? Did that casting just happen?
No, there was a groundswell,
Yeah.
and also the new showrunner definitely has an agenda that he's displaying in all the episodes.
Yeah.
And so I think it's a great thing that they have a woman playing the Doctor, because why not? And the show's gone on for more than 50 years. It's about
Yes.
time.
Yes.
However, I kind of would have appreciated it more if they just did it without so much fanfare. Like just
The new.
the new Doctor.
one.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah. They
yeah.
made quite a deal out of it, including a woman symbol in the logo for Doctor Who. Like they went all out trying to promote it.
Right.
That look, it's a woman Doctor now. It's representation, and not that I'm against that, but just do it without making such a big deal out of it.
Well,
I agree.
I used to think that with Wonder Woman, when they created Wonder Woman, that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Long before even when I was a kid, I was reading Wonder Woman when she was in, issue 100 or something like that. But I thought, oh well, they want to appeal to more girls to read this. But I didn't know any girls that read superheroes. I read boys all read them, and it didn't matter if it was Wonder Woman or Batman. We read both of them, and we didn't care if it was a woman. The girls weren't reading them; they were reading the girls that I knew. Again, if they read comic books at all, it was like Archie.
Yeah.
Right, so I don't know, and so same thing. You're gonna still get the Doctor Who fans. They're gonna say, "Oh, fine, it's a woman, whatever." But is it going to draw in any more female viewership if that's what their goal was?
Yeah. I mean, I believe it has. Interesting thing about Wonder Woman, though, because in the beginning it was all about bondage.
Yeah.
The person who created Wonder Woman was really into bondage, and so that was reflected in the early issues. Did the new Doctor attract more women? From the people that I've spoken to who have enjoyed the show, I think it has brought in more women. There was a point that I wanted to make that it's escaping me right now about. Nope, it's gone. So I won't linger and try to find it. If it comes up later, I'll bring it back up.
See, the thing is, in the alien genre of movies,
Yeah.
you guys have already mentioned it. We already had an incredibly strong woman in Sigourney Weaver.
Yep.
Although the Alien franchise kind of dipped down a little bit for me with number 3 and 4. With the
They've been progressively worse.
yeah, they have.
Yeah.
For sure.
She was fantastic, and Aliens was, I think, the quintessential strong woman. I don't know why we think that, that hasn't happened in
No,
Hollywood.
that was an old '80s movie.
Yeah, it was
and
wonderful.
even after that, if you think it wasn't about aliens, look at Terminator. You look
Right,
at the
with
Sarah
the Hamilton.
Connor character, right? That she was really strong, and she didn't start out that way, but
No.
she developed that way. And then in the second and third movie, she was totally badass.
Yeah.
She was.
You know.
Yeah. And truly, she was in incredible shape.
Yeah.
Amazing shape.
Linda Hamilton, right?
Linda
Yeah.
Hamilton.
And then even although it was more recent, the really a few years ago, the reboot of Mad Max.
Oh, yes.
Thunder Road, was that it? And that was Charlize Theron. Was
Charlize
she?
Theron,
Yeah,
yeah.
she was great in that. That was
fantastic.
all those
I
women that
haven't
were
seen
kick
that.
ass.
It's
Neither
very
have I.
good.
I heard it's,
George Miller.
I do
Yeah,
wanna
it's
see
George
it.
Miller.
Yes.
That's
Okay.
it.
That was good.
But so what about the Body Snatcher version? Like Sutherland's Body Snatchers. What do you guys think of that version? Because I think,
Never seen it.
have you ever seen anybody? Well, it just
Nope.
the
I've seen
general
all three
body.
of them.
Have you really?
Yeah, the original one is still my favorite.
See, I think that's how it's going to happen. I think
Well, like
I
a
think
pod
if
from- yeah, like
we're
a
not going
bacteria?
to. It's not going to be a mechanical war. I think Skynet's not going to happen. You know, I don't think it's going to be a mechanical war where we need to bring out all the tanks and the planes. I think it's going to be a Manchurian candidate, you know, taking over the bodies nobody knows.
Yeah.
And suddenly we're all just gone. You know, I think that's the alien that's going to happen because you guys are right. I think, you know, the manifestation of a humanoid bipedal individual
Yeah.
is probably not going to happen. It's probably
Yeah.
going to be a beam of energy.
Yeah, it has to be the travel.
Yeah, yeah. Have you guys ever seen They Live?
Yes.
With
Yes, I remember
Rowdy
that.
Roddy Piper.
With Roddy Piper. John
Oh my
Carpenter
gosh.
directed it. That's
John
great.
Carpenter.
And Alice Cooper's in it.
he is.
He plays like
Yes,
a
he
street
is.
bum.
yeah.
The homeless guy. Yeah.
They Live is with Roddy Piper, and Roddy
Yes.
Piper got his fame back in the day when The Rock got his fame
Yeah, from wrestling.
from wrestling.
Yeah.
And he played a Scottish guy, wore a kilt when he wrestled.
Yeah, he died recently too, didn't he?
Did Roddy
Yeah, I
Piper
think he
die?
died, yeah.
Oh my God, I don't know. But he played this guy, and that's exactly what happened. And something went wrong, and I can't remember what it was. But he ended up getting a hold of these glasses.
Yeah.
And he put the glasses on.
And he could see all the
and
subliminal
he could see, like,
messages,
Julia's
yeah.
sitting there, and she's a beautiful woman, obviously, right now. And then he put the glasses on, and she's this horrifying alien.
Yeah.
And the glasses were the only way you could see
Yeah.
the aliens.
Yeah.
And that was fantastic.
And there were all these subliminal messages that
Yes.
people were invisible to, but it was obviously
Yes, it was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
it was like, don't eat meat.
Yeah.
You know, and eggs are bad for you.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
hysterical.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It was a good movie.
But,
do you think it's going to be an attack as opposed to a peaceful coexistence?
Well, I'm still 50-50 on that. I think we're so arrogant that we're going to create the
I
attack.
think we would attack.
Yeah.
And ruin it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think you know, like in every alien film ever made, what's the first thing we do? We roll up the tanks, bring the missile bank,
Shoot it down.
and we have one silly little person in front talking to him. They even
Yeah.
did an Amy Adams film,
Yeah.
and we're ready to kill everybody.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, I think we're going to facilitate our own attack.
I think so too.
Yeah.
This is why we can't have nice things, because we blow everything up.
Exactly.
And there's also, as we destroy our own planet, that thought. And again, they're in we won't be around for it, but we got to leave it and go somewhere else. So it's safe to think that somebody else. Of course, there's nothing to be saved here, right? And they want to come here. Again, their conditions would have to be the same on their planet, and that's pretty doubtful it would be.
And what's typical of all the movies? It's we can't offer anything to the aliens. It's the planet that can.
Yeah.
Water, air,
Yeah.
minerals. We're just an inconvenience to every alien.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, to me, the worst
Maybe.
alien movie, for me was that god awful Independence Day. It made a big, huge splash because it was the CGI or the
Yes.
special effects were so good, and I thought they lost track of the fact that they need to have a story,
Yeah.
and they had to have some believable characters instead of these cardboard cutout, stereotypes that they
Yeah.
had. It made no sense. And then, okay, in the end, how did they find out? Oh, it was bad software. They got Jeff Goldblum to write a virus for it, and then they uploaded it, and it crashed there.
How about War of the Worlds?
See, the thing with War of the Worlds, H.G. Wells meant that as a parable of the invasion, of native people by Westerners, whether it was in the U.S. with the Native American Indians, whether it was in Australia with the Aborigines, or New Zealand with the Maoris. So that was, and what was funny, of course, is what brought down the aliens in that. A virus.
A different kind of virus.
Different kind of virus, right?
Okay, so but now, are you guys fans of original films or remakes? What do you like? I know it depends, but I mean, generally speaking, are you disappointed by the remakes?
No.
Did you see the original
No.
War of the Worlds?
Exactly.
You just saw Tom Cruise.
Yeah.
Yeah, decent job. I thought he
I
did
think
a good
so.
job.
I actually enjoyed that movie,
Yeah.
even though it's really far-fetched, and I don't think they were coming with their big machines to pump out our blood and
Yeah.
spray it on.
Yeah. Now, it's interesting to mention War of the Worlds because, of course, originally, before it was a movie, it was a radio show. It was a radio broadcast. It's famous here. People panicked. It ties into this discussion because, according to Annie Jacobson, who wrote a book called Area 51, and it was the one book that I read, and I looked at it. Well, she had a lot of, she used a lot of declassified documents, so she was really, I mean, trying to give a sober, rational approach to the history. One of the story is there really was a flying saucer, quote unquote, that crashed in Roswell.
Mm-hmm.
But when they opened it up, they found Cyrillic writing. Right, it was Russian, so it was created by the Soviets right after World War II. It would make sense that they would be in New Mexico, because that's where White Sands was. Roswell's not far from White Sands, where they were testing the original Manhattan Project. Manhattan Project later became known as the Atomic Energy Commission. They are the ones who control Area 51, not the CIA, not that they rent out space, whatever, or they're allowed to use it, but it's under the control of the Atomic Energy Commission at the time, which later became Department of Energy. But according to their theory, that Stalin had wanted this flying saucer to land and create a panic because he had on board children that had been deformed by Joseph Mengele during the Nazi time.
Wow.
And that's why they had the big heads and the humanoid bodies, that these were basically children. So as far-fetched as that sound, is it any more far-fetched than they came from outer space? I kind of think that looking at them, at these things here, I have seen people and kids in the third world, if you gone there, unfortunate with the distended bellies, and knowing that right after World War II, or rather during World War II, Mengele did some just horrific things to human beings, and that these children had been normal or whatever, were born, and then they had implants and what have you, and they experimented on them, and then they lost their appearance of being human, at least their physical appearance.
So, have any of you? Do any of you have any friends, family, yourselves, anybody that's have shared with you that they've had an experience?
No.
No.
Neither have I.
No.
Well, maybe a friend. Maybe a friend.
I definitely have one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have missing time.
Yeah.
You know, that was one of the things with the missing time.
Well,
but I had a reason for that.
John.
Yes, I had a reason for that. I think it was something I had consumed.
Weed.
Yes, I had some weed, and it's like, what time is it now? Where did those last 4 hours go? We must have been abducted by aliens.
Yeah.
Now, I do know somebody who had worked for NASA, was a science teacher, and had one time been worked for NASA and had been to Area 51 and said that she saw aliens in a cage. Now I thought, well, that's interesting, because I always thought that the aliens were dead, and that if they're
live
in
aliens in a cage.
if it's in a cage, I would think it would be alive. And I thought that is exactly how we would treat them.
Okay.
We're gonna,
sure.
We would
we
lock
will.
them up and whatever. But then I started thinking that, well, if you saw one of these beings, like if it was one of those kids and it was dead, whatever, again, you're looking at it and it looks kind of human, but kind of not. And we've all seen those on the internet, pictures of, oh, look at this creature. Is this what is it from Mexico? Chupacabra?
Chupacabra.
Chupacabra.
Yeah, and people, that's it. And they look at it, and someone says, no, actually, it's the remains of a wolf or something, or a goat. And you look at it and say, oh, man, that's a crazy looking one. Well, we have weird looking people, right?
Yeah. Now, do we categorize that as an alien? Are those aliens?
Chupacabra?
No, I think it's
Bigfoots?
just one of those.
I mean, is that
No, I think those are
No?
oddly evolved animals or
Yes.
human hybrids
so
of some sort.
connected somehow to our own evolution?
Yeah,
So,
part of
Jamey-
our planet.
Okay.
So tell us about, who do you know then?
My college roommate.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. He was an absolutely sane guy. He was very cool. I went to school in Pepperdine University, and he was absolutely normal across the board. He didn't care about it. But he would tell you with great conviction that he feels that on a trip to Tijuana, which I went with him twice, But not on those trips. On a trip to Tijuana, he was abducted.
Straight up abducted.
Straight up abducted.
Abducted and taken to the donkey show.
got
Is that it? Is
By
that
a
his
cartel?
Right? Yes, no donkeys. Although when I went, they tried to sell me a donkey. I thought that was interesting. Yeah, I went to TJ. They tried to sell me a donkey and a chicken. I don't
what
know
do
why.
they do together?
Yeah, I
That's a
don't know.
show I want to see.
Yeah, right. No, but he said that he went there on his way out of TJ back to school. That typical flash a light. And he said he lost about 22 minutes.
And does he remember the abduction itself?
He remembers the flash of light, not being in or around his car, and being in the light, and then coming back. And he looked at his clock, and it was 22 minutes later. Now, could it have been drug-induced? He says he didn't. He said he had a few beers, like you said, Julia.
Yeah.
Beer doesn't do that. Now,
But
I don't
here-
drink it all, but
Yeah.
but
no, it doesn't. But here's
does
the
not.
other thing I wondered. Just look at the logic. If you came all this distance, or we want to come and study these, why is it that they always take college students in white trash? There's always some guy in Alabama or something like that, right, in the backwoods. Oh, really? You didn't go ahead and look at Stephen Hawking.
Yeah.
I mean, again, if they just saw Stephen Hawking, they realized, Jesus, these people, they can't even talk. They got a machine for that, right? If they thought everybody was like him. They don't want to talk to somebody who's really smart. They go out and they always pick out people like that, or just, let's go abduct this housewife, right, from New Jersey. And it's just like, well, why? And then we'll do these experiments on her with the pokes and the...
See,
You
that's
mean-
just silly.
Well,
Yeah.
we've got scans now ourselves. If we're so far behind them, just give them an MRI or something, right? CAT scan, put them through there. I can see everything in there. I'm going to go poking them with a pitchfork.
Yep.
Okay, well, here's a little bit more thoughtful question. Many of the movies we see, and many of the depictions of the aliens that don't destroy us, they invite someone to go. I mean, all the way back to a childhood film that I love, Last Starfighter. He went.
Contact.
Yeah.
Contact. She went.
Close Encounters.
that was-
Close Encounters. He
Yeah.
went. Would you go?
Yes.
Would you go?
100%.
You would go, really?
Yeah, you got to see. Yes,
Okay. So you would forsake everything.
I would.
The mortgage business?
Yes.
Do they have mortgages?
I would
Yeah.
forsake.
Do they have mortgages there? That's what I want to
Yeah.
know.
If they don't, I'm there.
Yeah.
All right. So Julia's a clear yes, she would go.
Yep.
How about you? Will you be on the ship with her?
I would not.
No.
I would not. I'd say thank you for the invitation. My wife would probably be very angry with me if I left.
Sure. Or surprisingly pleased. You just don't know.
She may have paid them to take me. It's possible. Yeah, I couldn't leave people behind, and that would be the deciding factor for me. If I were single and
Yeah.
all the folks passed away, sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My brother and sister would understand.
Yeah.
But
okay.
aside from so I couldn't leave
Now,
loved ones.
okay, fair enough. How about you?
Yeah, I'd go. Because my parents both gone. So I don't have them.
I think we'd need you to go.
Well, I'd have to ask them the one question. They have hot chicks there. And I don't mean looking like this. Like, oh, man. No. That's not my style.
Is that the chick?
Yeah. Yeah.
I'd go.
Yeah.
I'd go.
Now, it depends. Would you go if you knew you couldn't come back? Or if they said, well, we'll let you come back in
Good
5
point.
years or
How
something?
about,
I would.
you would go.
I'd like to have the option. I just hope that wherever that is, that they treat immigrants better there than they do here. That would be it. I don't want them coming there, Yankee go home or whatever.
You have cell
Uh-oh.
service here?
I do.
Yeah, I got nothing out here.
I have nothing.
Yeah.
I assume it's the government blocking it.
I would assume.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I should be kind to everybody and shut that off. Huh?
Yeah, I don't. If there were a return trip involved, then yeah, I think I would do it. Even the possibility doesn't even have to be a guarantee. It's like
Yeah.
we'll get you back. Yeah, nod and wink. I think I'd still okay, cool. Then
Yeah.
I could plausibly say I thought I was coming back.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And if they had better technology there, assuming that they did, then yeah, as you get older, you start getting, oh man, my knees are. Oh, we can fix that.
Yeah.
I think
Without
I
surgery
think
or
it would be
whatever.
good to relearn. And hopefully the society would be technologically more advanced, and we'd have beautiful environment, and it was a homogeneous society where everybody worked, not a utopian. I don't think that even aliens can't do utopia.
No.
But I would look for betterment. I would be so disappointed if I got there and it was just like
like here, except they're just shorter
shanty
and
town of aliens,
yeah, and they got big heads.
Right.
Yeah, wearing MAGA caps, right? Just extra big sizes fit their head.
Well, now, speaking of the current administration, he actually, strangely enough, had a very small press conference in which he very briefly mentioned NASA, and he will not be giving any more money to NASA. Yeah. So, would you give money? Would you give more money to NASA? I mean, because we are dead in the water when it comes to space exploration. Now, Earthbound exploration, we're definitely trying to make strides with our satellites and our cameras and our telescopes, but we are not venturing out. And
we have to venture
after
out.
the Challenger, that was it was an awful thing. So would you vote for that? I mean, if your congressperson said, "Hey, I want to vote for this," what would you say?
I probably,
because we're talking 8 figures. I mean, we're talking in the billions for them to make any movement at all.
yeah. And is he putting all the money in Space Force?
Yeah, that's it. What's it? Yeah.
His comment was he will not be giving any money to NASA.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's shocking to me.
It is.
Yeah.
But didn't that start during the Obama administration? Didn't he restrict funding to NASA back
He
then?
did.
He did.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
He wasn't. Trump, unfortunately, is a bit too literal.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give anything, and he probably will administratively, but no, I mean none.
I mean, I don't want to lay it all on his feet. Not that I'm a fan of the guy, but I don't want to lay it all on his feet. I'm kind of cool with the privatization. I mean, SpaceX seems to be doing okay with
in
privately
terms
of
exploration.
exploration. I mean, they're advancing. They've created rockets. They've launched satellites.
Yeah.
So would I provide? I mean, if I were president and I had the ability to fund it, yes, I would. Just because that's of personal interest to me. Yes.
NASA has a current budget that he didn't say he's stripping.
Right.
He just said no more money to NASA.
Okay.
Which, I mean, they're not going to progress any further, and they're not going to go anywhere. I mean, they might be able to research things here homebound, but I don't know. What do you think? What do you think of Richard Branson and all the privatization? Elon.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think private companies tend to do things better anyway.
Yeah.
You think so?
Yeah.
Same.
think
I
the
look at
government
things like,
messes
for
everything up.
example, I look at polio, which was a scourge back in the 40s. That was we discovered a vaccine with public money.
Yeah.
It wasn't any. Oh, we gotta. Again, it was and then years later they asked Jonas Salk, who was not the only person involved in it, but he was the one whose name comes up most often with the invention. He goes, well, don't you wish that maybe you gotten a patent on it so you could have gotten rich? And he was just kind of taken back by that. And he just said, this vaccine belongs to the world. It's to help everybody. That's the point of finding it, not to make money,
Right.
was to help people overcome this scourge, particularly for kids. It's really, it's a terrible disease. So the public can do that, and we really haven't done anything privately. Usually, I mean, yes, we have all these wonderful pharmaceuticals with their 36 side effects, which are worse than the original one. And then you got green toenails. Oh, you're fucked, man. Oh, geez, you got to take this pill.
But then when you take that pill, it's going to give you incontinence. So take this one to prevent
Yeah,
that.
take this other one to prevent this. And then we have, so I'm not sure about that. And we did land the man on the moon, and I don't see. I mean, we're seeing. Oh, they're going to get into, SpaceX, whatever. They're not landing anybody on the moon yet. So, think about it. We did that back in the 60s. Which brings up another conspiracy, is that there are people that believe we never landed on the moon. And that it was filmed right over here, Area 51, because that's where the astronauts trained for the flight. What they found was, during the atomic weapons testing, which did go on until 1992,
Right.
they were doing them underground, and that caused a lot of the ground underneath it to implode, basically go down. So there's areas out there, not so much Area 51 as the atomic nuclear test range, which is adjacent, where where the terrain is very much like craters,
Right.
because they have that, and that's what they were practicing Armstrong and Aldrin were practicing out there. So they did do that.
Now, I saw the Mythbusters episode.
Yeah.
Which, take that with a grain of salt. I mean, they did their best. But they did an interesting diagnosis of the photography of it and the shadow cast. And said that they came to the conclusion and they believe he actually was on the moon because of the things that were happening, the gravitational differences, the shadow cast, the sun cast, that it would have been impossible to recreate that during that time in our technological history photographically. And I believe that.
I think he went to the moon.
I think the Holocaust exists. I think we went to the moon.
The other thing with the moon landing is they took a great risk. I mean, when you think about how idiotic it was for them to put the lives of these 3 astronauts in danger just to beat the Soviets to the moon, just for that, the bragging rights. That Armstrong even said going into it was a 50-50.
Yeah.
Whether or not they were going to land, and then when he was told we're going to land here, he couldn't land the Eagle. They had 20 seconds of fuel left before it's just going to crash, and he thought, I can land over there, and he sets it down. So I mean, they were that close to just,
What's the name of that movie that just came out with
First Man?
First Man. Did you guys see First Man?
No.
Claire Foy and Ryan. I think it's Reynolds.
Gosling.
Deadpool. He went to the Ryan Gosling.
Right?
Ryan Gosling. Claire Foy.
Is it?
Gosling.
Oh.
Is it?
Yeah.
Who played Neil Armstrong?
Gosling.
Oh, is that
Yes.
right? I haven't. I've heard of that, but yeah, I haven't seen that.
When I say Gosling, all I can think of is John Gosling.
No, Ryan Gosling.
So,
Ryan
okay,
Gosling.
okay.
And Claire Foy, wonderful film, deserved all of its accolades, and the way they filmed him going up, the cramped nature of it, and everything else, it was just brilliant. But you're right. I mean, there were so many problems, so many worries and concerns. They absolutely didn't think they were going to make it. Especially, they had the astronauts that got burned up, and before. I mean, they had the 3 astronauts that were just destroyed in the capsule. And there was no way he was supposed to make it. And what I didn't realize, he was not military.
Oh, Armstrong?
Yeah.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, they were interviewing people for the military and for CIA, FBI, and everything else. And he was just this brilliant person that was involved in the jet testing that pushed his way on there. And he was clearly the best guy to go on there. But he absolutely said, "There's no way we're coming back." And it's amazing. It's amazing. But no, I think we went to the moon. Don't you?
Oh, I think so.
We went to the moon.
Absolutely.
I think so. I mean, other times, what they were testing out here at Area 51 was the original U-2.
Yeah.
And the idea was that they wanted to fly high enough that the Soviet missiles couldn't shoot them down.
Uh-huh.
And the idea was, gee, if we can just get high enough. Well, the U-2, I think, went 70,000 feet, which commercial airline, no planes went that high.
Right.
Then after that we have pictures here on the wall of the ox cart, the A-12. That could go even higher because then the missiles were able to hit them because they shot down one of the guys, right?
Right.
They got down. Francis Gary Powers got shot down. They were saying, no, we're not sending anybody over. We're not spying on you. Well, we got one of your guys. So that's what a lot of times some of the UFO reports that they were seeing. And again, UFO is unidentified flying object. Doesn't mean it's from outer space or space. Just we don't know what it is. Mm-hmm. So pilots were reporting this because it was flying higher than they were, and they didn't know of any aircraft that could fly that high. Well, those reports coincide with testing of the A-12, and of course, they're not going to say anything here. Right. They're going to say, well, we don't know what it is. It must have been from outer space. That's convenient, right? It's a mistruth that gets presented as a lie, and you present your truths as lies.
Yeah.
So that's how you create the smoke screen that you need to be able to do the experiments.
Right. Now, one thing that I realized, I have a friend who's in the production business. And he and some investors have gotten together, and again, you were talking about the privatization of everything. They are, and I kind of been saving this. I'm not really at liberty to say the launching time and the name and everything else because they're still working on it. But these guys have collaborated, and they're going to make a Las Vegas-based Vomit Comet. Do you know what that is?
No.
Vomit comet is what they do in Hollywood. It's a plane that goes up and then basically falls down, and during the time they fall down, they're weightless, and that's how they make all the Tom Cruise movies with the Mission Impossibles. If you saw the most recent one, Tom Cruise, what was it? Not Rogue Nation, but Mission Impossible 6, Fallout. That's how they did it. They did a vomit comet, and basically Hollywood's been doing that forever. And it actually, the reason it's called that is because when you do that, most people are pretty sensitive, and you puke when you're on the plane.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they're making this. They're looking to somehow develop this as a ride in Las Vegas.
Oh. Boo.
Interesting.
That would be a no for Julia. I can already tell you. I don't need to ask her.
Yeah, any ride that has the word vomit in it, no thank
Well,
you.
they're not going to call it vomit.
But yeah.
They might.
It's a marketing problem there,
yeah,
I think.
Yeah, I don't like to fly anyway, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, but I got to talking to him at my last gig I was working, and it's a lot of money, obviously, you know, and a lot of more clearance than money. He said the money is already ready to go.
Yeah, yeah.
He said we got to get some clearances here, because basically they're asking to crash the plane. They're asking, you know, to go dead stick.
Right.
And that's not good. You know, the FAA doesn't like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it seems a little silly to me because it's basically sky jumping.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
Right.
With the illusion that you're not moving because you have a plane still around you as you fall at the same descent.
Yeah.
So you can have the same feeling just by doing sky jumping.
Yes. Yes, exactly, exactly. Now, one of the things that we've talked about on the program before, on the show before, is there are military individuals that claim to have been working at Area 51. There was another officer, a Metro officer in Las Vegas, that claimed they absolutely know that aliens have come to Vegas, not here, not where we are at Area 51 at the old little Alien Inn, but to Vegas. And there's a whole population of people, of aliens there. And that's where the research is being done.
I see. Well, I see a lot of them at the airport. They come in on the international flights. I see a lot of aliens.
Right.
Are those the aliens?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there was a really interesting series of books by Sylvain Neuvel, I think his name is. There's Sleeping Giants is the first one, and what it is that they unearthed this gigantic metal hand somewhere in the desert, and while they're examining it, they find other pieces, and they realize it's this huge, it's body parts of a huge robot that we put together, right? So that's kind of the first book, is describing they realize that Earth has been colonized by these aliens that left this robot. Why did they leave the robot?
Right.
So they put this thing together. It's huge, it's like an office building. But in the second book, you realize that now they're coming back down to kill us, and they're releasing a virus. And so their thinking is, oh, I see what they're doing. They're killing off all the humans, so the only ones left will be the hybrids that didn't know it. No, it's the other way around. They're killing the people who have alien blood.
Okay.
Because they've been bastardized, right? So those are the ones. So it's kind of like that. Yeah, they're among us, but they look just like us. You know, it's put in their blood to 23andMe and see what comes back.
It's funny how defeatist we are as a human race. If you think about everything, we're all of the development of stories and the creation of movies and everything else, even Julia's book, Barren Waters, has to do with the fact that we can't pull this off. Yeah. We cannot live here in peace and in harmony and cleanliness. We are gonna ruin it. And it's just amazing. No wonder that most of the time we develop stories that aliens can come and just destroy us because. Oh God! It's
think about it, right up here, right? Chris said, "I could live out here, right? There's just nothing out here, and that's the appeal. There's no people, right?
There's no people.
No one here to screw things up."
Yeah,
that's like the circular logic. I don't remember the movie, but artificial intelligence, and one of their goals for existing is to save humanity. So they have to kill humanity to save humanity.
To save it. Yeah.
So, because they're taking care of us, because we're destroying ourselves, and it was weird, but true.
True, for sure.
Yeah.
I mentioned Skynet earlier. Of course, that's a reference to James
Terminator.
Cameron's
Terminator.
Terminator.
Right? Yeah.
I also think that's a really good possibility. I think we're doing well developing machines that could probably kill us
I think
at
we
some
are.
point. I mean, we already can't get on another kid got hurt by a roller coaster, the most benign thing in the world, and he got hurt at. We were talking earlier on the way here about Universal Studio, and he was killed on one of the most benign ride. His legs or something were crushed, and I don't know.
Well, so many of those rides, you stand still, kind of just shake side to side, right?
Yeah.
So.
But I absolutely believe we develop things that will kill us.
Yeah.
Drugs aside.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just amazing.
Yeah. Have you all seen the movie The World's End?
Yes.
Simon Pegg.
Again.
Simon Pegg and Nick Frost.
Yeah.
Fun
Fantastic, funny movie because the aliens actually come here wanting to make it better for all of us, and we rebel against them, even though they're making it better.
Yeah.
And we kick them off the planet.
Yeah.
Of course we do.
Right.
They're creating a utopia. Well, not so much a utopia. Maybe a little bit. That might be the wrong word for it. It's a little too pristine.
Yeah. Now, have you guys seen the Orville? Seth
Rogen.
MacFarlane.
Seth MacFarlane's show, very Star Trek-esque. It's sort of an homage to Star Trek. Very good. And again, they're dealing with a utopian society with little pockets of problems. I mean, everybody has their Romulans and their and a problem there. But do you think that well after our generation that we're going to have this wonderful Star Trek society, or are we constantly going to be in little diners talking about how bad our world is?
Everyone's staring at me.
I'm going to stare at you. Well, you're in L.A. Las Vegas, I think, has a strangely better outlook than L.A.
Yeah, I don't think we'll get there. I think we'll destroy ourselves before we have to rebuild and create a better society.
Right.
I think.
Right.
I mean, I hate to be such a pessimist, but I see the trends of the way that things are going, and we talked about this earlier. And I think we're on a downward spiral, and I think something cataclysmic needs to happen for us to wake up and try to better ourselves.
One of the scariest books I ever read was written actually from one of my I won't say boyhood. I guess I was older than that. But one of my heroes, Daniel Ellsberg, and his book, The Doomsday Machine, which is his memoirs, basically came out about a year or so ago. Because remember, he had been with the Rand Corporation, and he was a high-ranking. He had full clearance, and he was getting access to a lot of documentation, of course, about the nuclear weapons program after World War II and into Vietnam. And he was the one, of course, who was the original Edward
Scissorhands. No,
not Snowden. Edward Snowden.
Okay,
Thank
right.
you. He was the original Edward Snowden. So he whistleblew, and that's what the Pentagon Papers came out, and he could have been executed for what he did. But he had also, in addition to all the documents related to the Vietnam War, he had documents that related to the nuclear weapons program, which he gave to his brother to bury and hide because the FBI was coming for him. And later on, he'd planned to publish those. The brother took them and hid them in the local city dump in New Jersey, and he knew where they were because there was a landmark there. But a hurricane came through there and wiped it out, and they never found it. So anyhow, when Daniel Ellsberg wrote Doomsday Machine, it was based on his own personal notes and his own remembrances. But he said that during the Manhattan Project, when they were doing the initial splitting of the atom and testing, that there was a chance. Fermi said 25% chance we destroy the world with this. We don't know what's going to happen when we split the atom. There was a theory that it's possible that it would set off a chain reaction that would boil the water in the oceans, and just the atmosphere would evaporate in a second, kill everything. Let's split it, see what happens.
Yeah, let's see. So if I gave you 5 ways the world could end, which one do you think it will be? All right, so you've got artificial intelligence killing us.
He's fine.
You've got a superbug, or like the emergence of a pathogen. Pandemic. You've got the environment turning on us.
1 second.
Nuclear war. Okay, that's all you get.
Bad
or
water.
zombie apocalypse.
Bad water, bad air, zombies. aliens.
Probably the virus. I think because that will kill people very quickly.
Yeah.
And great numbers it has, like with the Spanish flu, 1919.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think
it just
so, too.
wiped out. And same thing with that would probably, by the time they found something to it, it would be too late.
Oh, yeah. But we're going to interrupt just a second. Again, I want to thank Connie and everybody at the Little Ailey Inn in Rachel, Nevada. Now, Google says you're in Alamo. Oh, yeah, go ahead, please. Now, let's get that straight, because not only do we talk about aliens and how fun this place is, we talk about kind of how to get here and how nice it is to drive. So, Google says you're in Alamo.
We share the same zip code with Alamo, but
Okay.
we're physically in Rachel, so
Okay.
our post office is in Alamo.
Okay.
We have a dash, 4 numbers.
Oh, I got
Makes
you.
us our own entity.
Perfect. Now, I'm going to put you on the spot.
Okay.
How do people find out about you? How do people find out about the inn and the cafe and everything about what's going on here? You got the mic now.
So it's pretty obvious if you Google Area 51, we're going to come up. We're the first ones. So that's pretty easy. YouTube,
Yeah.
you know.
Do you
We
have-
have
is
our
there-
own website.
You do. And what is that?
littlealien.com.
Okay.
You know.
Now spell that for we have a lot of people that come from international locations. Go ahead and spell that for them.
Little, Little,
Uh-huh.
ALEINN.
INN.
Signifies we're little, we have ale, and we're an N.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
Now, where did that name originate from?
My parents.
Now, they've been the original owners.
Yes, they've
But
been here.
originally, before it was a Little Alien, it was named after them. Is that right?
No, well, it was.
Yeah.
When they first came here, it was the Rachel Bar and Grill.
Okay.
It had 10 owners before them.
All right.
And they kind of changed the name up a little bit to
Yeah.
Joe and Pat's Rachel Bar and Grill.
Yeah.
And then in 1991, they were trying to incorporate a name that most of our guests were foreigners.
Yeah.
So, again, Little, Ale,
Yes.
and Inn
Yes.
That's very clever.
was Miss Hyphenixed
Yeah.
from the printer.
awesome.
So it became Little Alien. We're good with that.
Yeah.
Excellent.
It incorporates everything that's here.
Yeah.
And it just happened to be, you know, at the time Bob Lazar and George Knapp blew the story wide open.
Yes.
George is
Yeah.
right.
George
there.
Lazar.
Yeah,
Yeah,
there he is,
they're
right
both
there.
right here.
Yeah.
So, you know, it just kind of was meant to be
Right.
for it to stand out like that.
Right.
You know,
Now,
so
on the menu on your restaurant, you have an alien burger.
I do.
Now, I'm wondering, I'm looking at these aliens. They don't seem to have a lot of meat on their bones.
They don't. None of them do. I think it just all goes to their brain.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, that is obviously the biggest portion of their body.
Well, it's like I said, we have a lot of people that listen to the show and want to come out. It's a great drive.
It
As
is.
Julia
Very,
mentioned
very-
it's a
Beautiful.
yeah, you know, it's 2 hours, 20 minutes, almost to the minute.
Mm-hmm.
Very easily marked, except there's a little fork where 318, 375. It's a little weird.
It is.
Yeah.
It is.
Weird.
That little
Yeah.
Y right there. Yeah.
But once you get here, it's fantastic. On the way here, of course, you see. I think I saw the black mailbox. I read it was not there. Is that
You have seen a replica.
a version of it? Okay.
So there is somebody has put back or a replica of the original black mailbox, which was just a normal household black mailbox.
Yeah.
And then the newer version, which is what Steve Medlin had made,
Okay.
which is the big white square one.
Okay.
I think somebody has painted that black.
What I saw was black coming in.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
painted it black
Okay.
when, you know,
Okay.
because they weren't quite sure, I don't think.
Yeah, and that doesn't receive. It's just a box. Right?
It's a
Yeah, okay.
box.
Right.
It's a box.
Okay.
The mail is no longer delivered there, you know, which is kind of sad that the ranchers have to go where they have to go and do what they
Yeah.
have to do in order to receive their mail
Sure.
in peace.
Yeah.
You know, but
And we saw your infamous free range wild cows.
yes, and it is a dead serious thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Cars
it
and,
is.
cars and cows don't mix.
Yes.
You know, if you're going to be driving down our highway at night, I'm going to tell everybody 45 miles an hour tops.
Yeah.
The cows are black.
Yeah.
It's dangerous.
Yeah.
Drive in the
They
middle
don't
of
glow
the
in the
highway.
dark. Yeah.
They do not glow in the dark.
Yeah.
And even if you hit them with glow in the dark paint, it eventually comes off.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what's your biggest seller? In here, when people come in, what do they buy?
As far as merchandise
Yeah.
or food?
Both.
Both.
I'm
Oh,
gonna go
alien
Mexican.
burger.
Yes.
Yeah.
Alien burger.
Yeah.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
All
Yeah.
right.
Alien toilet paper, I see.
Yes.
Christmas
isn't that
stockings.
kinda
Nice.
cool?
Christmas
we do
stockings.
have.
Fantastic.
I think my biggest seller would be a coffee cup.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
and it would. It's gonna be 50-50 on the warning one or
Yeah.
on the logo one.
Okay. All right.
You know.
Yeah. Now the warning one is much like the sign.
It's yes,
yeah.
it's just a piece of the
Yeah.
sign that you can't fit it all on a coffee cup.
Right.
You'd never be able to read it.
Yeah.
You know?
And for those of you coming out and listening to the show, there are signs. It's we call it "Cross this line, you die" sign, but they're quite serious.
They are definitely
They're-
serious.
they're
The
serious.
restricted sign means
Yeah.
restricted. It means do not go past go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
And-
actually really shouldn't take a picture, but I
Actually, you can take
Can
a
you
picture.
take a picture? Okay.
What that signifies, this is no photography.
Okay.
But it means beyond this point.
beyond this point.
And if
yeah.
you read the original sign,
Yeah.
which I have a replica poster of,
Okay.
in its exactness,
All right.
and it says beyond this point.
Okay.
So the backside of the sign, obviously you can't go to the backside of the sign, so you
But you're
can't.
being in front of it.
You're being in front of it. You're
Yeah.
on public land. You can take photographs of it.
Okay. Okay.
You know,
Good to know.
Just don't go past it.
Yeah.
Just because the road is paved on the other side does not mean that's a place to go and turn around. Turn around before the sign.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know.
Okay.
We don't bail anybody out of jail.
No. Well, I'll tell you what. If there's some place to come, when you visit this area, this is the place to come.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Oh yeah,
Little
you want
Alien
to
is,
have
is
lunch.
yeah,
You
yeah.
want to come out, but
full bar.
we do
bar.
have
Looking right
a
at
full
the
bar.
bar. Yeah.
We do have a full bar.
Yeah, absolutely.
If I can't make it, then
Yeah.
tell me how it's made. I will try. Because I'm not a bartender. I'm a barkeep. Big difference.
And your hours and days are
We are open 7 days a week.
7 days. Nice.
Our summer hours are from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Okay.
Kitchen closing at 9.
All right.
Our winter hours are from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Perfect.
Kitchen closing at 7. We will, in April, go back to our summer hours. You can check out the website,
Yep.
littlealien.com.
Well, Connie, I can't thank you enough for having us. You've been so hospitable, and it's been great. Anybody that comes here, please come here. It's a fantastic drive.
It's one of a kind.
It's one of a kind. I mean, you got dollars hanging from the ceiling. You got classic alien stuff
all
and
over.
wonderful
You've got-
things to
you
buy.
got
and
We
autographs.
have
lunch.
Home-
homemade
memorabilia.
quilts.
Homemade
that are-
quilts. I'm
that
looking
are
right at
made
one, yeah.
right here in Rachel.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
By the aliens, right? Do you have them
By
in the
the
back?
we
Sweat labor?
Yes,
Yeah.
a little bit. Yeah, you know. We even have a little house for her to be making them in.
Yes,
Yeah.
and they have a dog.
We do. We have George.
George.
You know,
Aw.
he,
Well,
he
George-
belongs to the family.
Excellent.
Little rescue dog.
Oh, very good.
Yeah.
Very good.
Um,
But we appreciate everything,
Yes.
and we've had a wonderful time. And
Great omelet.
Yeah, Connie, a little alien. In. Thank you so much.
thanks. Can I clear your plates away now?
Yeah.
Oh, great. Yeah, great. Well, I want to thank John and Chris and Julia. It so far has been a great trip. We have a lot more to do. Actually, we're going to buy stuff.
Yeah.
And take a look at the cafe or the inn. And again, please come down if you have a chance. A couple hours, you'll have a lot of fun. And there's so many things around us. There's the Alien Research Center with the giant 50-foot alien. There's the black box. There's the Cross This Line Sign You Die. And
also, let's not forget to drive out here. If you have not seen the desert, I mean, if your idea
Yes.
of the desert is Las Vegas Boulevard,
Yeah.
you come out here because you're going to see nothing but flat lands and beautiful mountains out in the background. And as far as the eye can see, nothing. That's why it's hard to miss this place when you drive out here because there's nothing else around it
right, exactly.
for miles and miles.
But this is episode 100, and I'm thrilled to be at this point. I attribute all of my table mates for getting us here, and hopefully we'll have some more. But this is actually episode 100 for the Pod Bay Door, and episode 1 for the Invisible Maybe. And so that will are coming out, but you'll hear those on April 2nd. But for the Invisible Maybe, it's theinvisiblemaybe.com. Check that out. There'll be about 5 to 6 episodes opening for its debut. But for Chris and Julia and John, this is Jamie. Thank you so much for episode 100. We will see you very soon. Thanks to everyone listening and watching. You can catch the Pod Bay Door on the Podbean app or any of your favorite podcast apps, including iTunes, Google Play, TuneIn, and Stitcher Radio. You can watch the show on our YouTube channel at the Pod Bay Door Podcast. Please download, like, and subscribe. Our social connectivity screen is coming up. Check in with us on Facebook, Twitter, and WordPress. The pod bay door is closed and... Hey everybody, thank you very much for tuning into the show. We would love to hear your show suggestions and comments. If you are watching on our YouTube channel, please click to subscribe. You can also connect with us on Facebook using @PBD Podcast, on Twitter using @TPBD Podcast, and on WordPress at thepodbaydoor.wordpress.com.